After playing the game last year at PAX Prime, I was fairly certain I would be both infuriated and elated once I was able to sit down for an extended period of time and really get a sense of what Darkest Dungeon by Red Hook Studios was all about.
You will arrive along the old road.
Hi, this is John from the Infinite Lives podcast.
It winds with a troubling
In the simplest sense, the game has you taking a party of 4 heroes on a dungeon crawl and engaging in turn-based combat. The goal of these adventures, of course, is gathering treasure and experience to better improve their adventuring success in order to tackle more difficult dungeons. Of course, as with any game, it's the subtle and not so subtle systems added which really make this game both infuriating and satisfying all at the same time. The story begins with you cast as an heir of a quickly deteriorating hamlet/manor, and returning after receiving a disturbing letter from the previous owner who begs you to come and claim your birthright, and also to bring order to the land which has descended into chaos. Once you arrive in town, it's readily apparent that the land has indeed fallen into darkness, and the only salvation is to recruit a stalwart band of adventurers to combat the evil that has taken root. The heroes at your disposal are a ragtag band of rogues, such as the Highwaymen and Jester, warriors, like the Crusaders and Hellions, and mystics, the Vestals and Occultists, and even a few that I couldn't quite figure out at first, such as the Plague Doctor and the Leper. Each of the heroes definitely has a primary role in the party, but one of the most intriguing things about the game, and a callback to any old-school D&D player, is that the position in the party actually matters while adventuring. The position of your characters determines the powers that are available during their turn, and so you have to be very deliberate about party order before you set out. Of course, before you're even able to set out on your quest, you actually need to recruit those heroes who randomly appear at your wagon seeking adventure, and are more than willing to venture into the darkness for promises of fame, fortune, and glory. In addition to the stalwart band, you must also purchase provisions such as food, bandages, and even torches to light the dungeon. That last one is particularly crucial to your dungeon crawl, as the darker the dungeon, the more prone your characters are to being ambushed or stumbling upon traps. The light also plays a crucial role in the game's most unique feature, which is stress. You see, dungeon crawling can be a lucrative profession, but it doesn't come without a cost. And in this case, that cost is that your adventurers get stress from many different types of sources. The damage they take from enemies and traps, as well as just being in the dungeon for an extended period, can cause stress, and once a particular character's stress level is maxed out, they are then forced to test their resolve. If a hero conquers their stress, they are rewarded with a boost to their effectiveness, but in most cases they succumb to the stress and develop an affliction, which ranges from simple stat debuffs to more complicated ailments such as the inability to respond to your commands, and even some which affect how they can be assisted once the quest is completed and they make it back to the hamlet alive.
Promises success.
Which brings me to the next point. The game is hard, and doesn't give a fuck if you're having fun or not, as you can go from the thrill of victory to the crushing agony of defeat in a single turn. The game gives no quarter when it comes to going on a quest ill-prepared, and if you don't realize that a mission is lost and abandon it quickly, you will lose party members left and right. This was probably the biggest hump for me to get over early on. The thought of failure anathema to what I think about in progressing in quest-based RPGs. It was after this point, when I began playing it safe, that I began to slowly become more successful on these quests. And being successful in a quest will truly make it worth your while, as you come back with a large amount of gold, as well as other items, including those which will help you upgrade your hamlet to prepare your adventurers for more dangerous quests.
And existence are one and the same.
The town itself is also where you go to relieve the stress for all your adventurers, and you have several ways to do so, from prayer in the church to indulging in gambling, booze, and pleasures of the flesh. But all of these do cost you your hard-earned gold. Luckily, the quest rewards also allow you to upgrade these facilities to treat more adventurers and for less cost. The town also allows you to cure any negative ailments your party may have gained while on their sojourn, including the most modern medicine such as leeches and a trip to the sanitarium. Lastly, the town also allows you to upgrade the skills and equipment of your adventurers themselves, which is vital if you hope to make it through some of the longer quests. And when you finally do decide to take on one of the bosses in the game, you definitely need to be at your best, as they have a ton of HP and generally have several actions every round, which can make things go from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows, and things quickly shift from bad to worse in a single round. But oh man, the audible shout of joy I had when I landed a killing blow on something, one of those bosses, was something everyone I believe should experience. In the end, Darkest Dungeon is something I believe absolutely everyone should play, and the fact that this game is only in early access on Steam and feels very much like a finished title just makes me excited to see what the developers have in store for us before the game is officially released to the world. This is John from the Infinite Lives podcast, and I'll see you as soon as I overcome my Dachnomania.
More bones returned to rest. Devils remanded to their abyss.